It's very humiliating to admit this now, but there was a time in college and school where I was very proud of my writing and communication skills. I mean, I'd take every opportunity to be on stage to communicate my ideas. I'd help my friends with their SOPs, with their interviews. I'd basically help them to express themselves. And that was enough for me to believe that I was a skilled communicator and writer. Now, of course, for anyone who works in a remotely creative field, you guys know how stupid this is. It was not until later was I exposed to writers and speakers around the world where I'd pause for a moment, marvel at something that they've said or written, and think to myself, that was amazing. Oftentimes in our lives, we come across people whose work really inspires and leaves a mark on us. And while we admire their work, admiration can quickly change to the feeling of inferiority. An unreachable gap starts to form between where we stand and where we would like to be. And unconsciously, we start feeling unworthy of perhaps reaching the same level of talent or success. Soon enough, a voice starts speaking to us. A voice that tries to halt every progressive thought, question every action, that persuades us to believe that we're just not good enough. And in this video, I want to address the fallacy that this voice is. It's true that there's always going to be someone better than us out there, and while their talents might seem momentarily superior, understand that they're also human and of the same race as you are. You might have heard of Steve Jobs' take on this, which was really the inspiration for this video.
Your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
That quote rocked me, particularly because Steve Jobs was a visionary in the eyes of many people, and yet others, including his closest colleagues and friend Steve Wozniak, have questioned his role over the years.
You can't write code. You're not an engineer. You're not a designer. You can't put a hammer to a nail. I built the circuit board. The graphical interface was stolen from Xerox PARC. Jeff Raskin was the leader of the Mac team before you threw him off his own project. Everything, someone else designed the box. So how come 10 times in a day, I read Steve Jobs as a genius? What do you do?
I play the orchestra.
But Jobs certainly proved that despite not knowing to code, his apparent flaws in product design and product development, knowing to control the voice in your head can ultimately take you to heights and can make you the leader of the opera. Now, taking control of the voice completely is not a skill that every person has the fortune of getting. I mean, I know that I don't, but it is my experience that you can certainly dampen it. And here's an example of how I dampened it recently. A couple of months ago, I had received a call from work where I had to go and oversee a shoot for a certain client. I had zero experience in overseeing any kind of shoot, let alone ones with proper DOPs, with tons of experience, with high-tech, really great cameras, technician crews, and everything that you would certainly find in a professional shooting environment. And on top of all of this, the shoot was for a very big client, a household brand that we use almost for our daily needs these days. Now, I showed up at the location being uncertain of how I was going to go about this because of my lack of experience. Now, on top of all of this, the DOP and the crew had sort of assumed that I was the director of this whole thing, and he came to me and he asked about how I wanted the shots, at what frames per second, at what angles, and every time he was done with a certain shot, he would ask me to come and check the monitor, and only when I gave the go-ahead sign did he proceed. So I had sort of become this unwritten director of the whole shoot without any prior experience, if you believe it or not. But in situations like this, the temptation to give in to the voice is really, really strong. And it started asking me questions like, why would someone listen to you? You have zero experience in this sort of thing. This is a DOP who has experience of shooting about 100 plus ad films. He's done like 6-7 feature films. Why on earth would he listen to you? But you see, the thing is, none of these guys knew that I had zero experience in this kind of a thing. Neither did the DOP know, neither did the technicians know, or neither did the people from the client side know. And this is sort of the perfect example of what psychologists called the spotlight effect, where we all walk around and think that there's this giant spotlight on us, there's this giant ball of light that is around us, and we're sort of in this space where people are constantly judging us, constantly thinking about us, constantly watching us, watching our every action. But the truth is, nobody cares. Nobody cares about anything but themselves. You know what I mean? In this case, the DOP just wanted to get his shots right, so he was caring about himself and he was sort of not wanting to mess up his job. The technicians were doing their job in that they were trying to help me and the DOP with the best resources possible. So they were sort of focused on them, and I was sort of focused on doing my job and providing the little direction that I knew to contributing to the shoot. And if you can all take a moment to acknowledge that there's actually no spotlight on us and everybody's sort of having their battle with their own voice inside their heads, I think that can be a very, very liberating and a very freeing thing as a human being. Now, there are times where I'm trying to pursue an idea or like a video that you're watching right now, and the voice sort of pops up and questions the merit of the action that I'm trying to pursue. I mean, to this day, calling myself a creator or a content creator still feels very strange, because how can you, especially when you don't have success and you have not a lot of people watching your videos. But when you actually start working on something, you become an embodiment of what you're trying to represent. And out of 7 billion people in the world, that something is truly yours and nobody can take that away from you. Now, negotiating with the voice, with whatever idea that I try to pursue, is a constant battle that I'm having with myself. And if I manage to publish this video, it just means that I just managed to beat it. And it's a battle that I will have with myself before every idea I pursue. But each time you beat it and you manage to come out on the other side, it's a step closer to beating it and sort of making you as a better human being. And so this video is simply an unoriginal reminder that the voice in our head is a creation of our own. And once you cross that bridge, through the mud, through the storm, through the rain, through the wind, great things wait on the other side. I'll see you guys in the next one.